Hello guys, welcome back to Gaming Tidbits. I know a lot of you guys have asked, some of you guys have asked about more information about the Retroblox. The Retroblox has actually come out with more info about the console. It actually came out a couple days after I made the last video. Basically posted on their site, everything you need to know, and that's what we're going to talk about. And the first thing I want to talk about is the power of this system, because I know that's something everybody wondered, like how powerful is this system? What what is it going to be able to do? Basically, if you want to know the system specs, they're saying the CPU of this thing is going to be a quad core ARM Cortex A17 with 1.0 gigahertz Rock chip RK3288, and the GPU will be a quad core ARM Viola T764 GPU 600 megahertz. Now again, doing what this console does, that seems like pretty hefty for really when you talk the power needed for the things they're emulating, PlayStation 1 and stuff like that. But hey, maybe they got other plans. I mean, you never know. Also, it's using Linux, and the framework is RBX OS. It's got 2 gigabytes of RAM and 16 gigabytes eMMC onboard flash. So that RAM for what you're using is not going to be an issue, obviously. Most stuff we're running doesn't need that. It'll have one USB 2.0, one USB 3.0, and then it's going to have a micro SD and SDXC supported up to 512 gigabytes. So if you can, SD will be supported. There'll be one HDMI 2.0, 1 gigahertz Ethernet, and then one micro SATA. That's kind of expected, to be honest with you. And then of course they'll have an internal Bluetooth antenna and DC power and 20-pin JTAG. Of course, it has a DVD-ROM, 11.08 megabits per second, 8 times max, and then a CD-ROM, 33 kilobytes per second, 24 times max. So with one bus connector and one wireless Bluetooth gamepad. That is what the system specs are going to be. That's what you're expecting to get. That's what they're saying this console is going to be. And I say that because, again, this isn't out yet. The Kickstarter for this console is coming in April. So they said the Kickstarter pre-order campaign will be April 2017 with a number of different core packages, and they basically listed 3. And one is basically the one basic unit, one Bluetooth controller, one selectable element module for a set price. Number 2 will be a base unit, one Bluetooth controller, 3 selectable element modules for set price, and then the third one's a base unit, one Bluetooth controller, and all 5 elementals for a set price. In addition, there'll be multiple controller packages and other options, ways to support the project on Kickstarter page close to the campaign. So we know there'll be multiple options for this. Now, they're saying this machine is not an emulation. They're not going for emulation for this machine, but technically it kind of is. So we'll get to the rest of this now. So they call basically the things you plug in to play the different games. They're calling it the modular multi-system retro console. So they're calling it a modular system, which of course is CD and DVD optical drive as well. It does say, the elemental modules are removable, including cartridge connector and at least 2 controller ports on each of these modules. So you'll be able to play, whatever system you're playing, you'll be able to use 2 controllers. Of course, it makes sense. You may want to play with someone else, so 2 controllers make sense. And they say the Retroblox can support virtually an unlimited amount of controller-based video game consoles. The one question you're going to have is the N64, because they did say they cannot support the N64 at this time due to the fact that Nintendo had a patent just as early as 2001 for the N64, and legally they don't think they can do it yet. They're still looking into it, and that's where it comes down to legality of it. Can they do it or not without getting any trouble? And we all know Nintendo protects their properties, so there you go. Now, you're saying at launch, what systems will this support? Well, there's the NES, the Super NES / Super Famicom, and yes, the Super Game Boy will work perfectly fine with play only, but you won't be able to back up your Game Boy games individually to the Retroblox. And then, of course, there's the Genesis Mega Drive, the Mega Drive for both Europe and Japan. They're supported. 32X, SMS support via power-based converters. So there you go. You got most of that covered, right? You will have the rest of this. You'll have the CD covered too. So all the Sega situation, when you talk 60-bit era, is going to be covered on this console. The Atari 2600 one, which really enough, the 7800 doesn't have support, or the 5200. So PC Engine, TurboF16, and Super Graphics. Now the CD-ROM DVD drive, which is what most people have talked about in my video, and I've seen in other videos talk about this, is going to have the PS1/PSX all regions supported. The CD-ROM will support the Sega CD, 32X CD, and of course the Mega CD for Japan and Europe. The PC Engine CD, Super CD-ROM, Arcade CD-ROM, and TurboGrafx CD. All the basically the PC Engine TurboGrafx in between all supported. So that's what's supported. I know a lot of people want different things supported, and I know, like for example, Saturn. A lot of people like that, but truth, that's probably the hardest thing to emulate. But so far, they said this is all they have to announce right now. They said right now that's what they have to announce. Maybe there'll be more announcements in the future sometime, but for right now, that's what we have. They claim the Retroblox is a pure emulation box, not an FPGA system. And why this is cool, the questions are again, they call this a new way of emulation. They call this hybrid emulation. It's a new way of tackling emulation by providing cost-effective and future-friendly advantages of high-level emulation, as well as accuracy and compatibility advantages of using clone hardware or FPGA, which just means field programmable gate arrays to model the original consoles. Basically, what they're saying is their emulation runs in more of a low-level function than the ones you simply download on your PC, phone, again, Pi, all that other stuff. So they can fully optimize everything for the console. That's basically what they're running it all down to be. Right now the issue is, of course, you won't be able to play games that purely remain on a light gun controller input. It just can't do it for every reason. But light guns that work on the light gun with the D pad input work fine. So, and the other question is, how do you install your games or ROMs correctly? And it says yes and no. It says, this system was designed to use physical copies of games. But here's the kicker. They're going to have some kind of store where you can buy the games if the game companies want them to or allow them to, where you can actually download the games from their site. So that is going to happen. That is going to be somewhat some kind of a thing. And they said that basically you can install on Retroblox either placed on an onboard eMMC flash memory or install an SD card if they are inserted. However, you will not simply get a bunch of dump ROMs or ISO files in installation. The SD card is encrypted and signed to that individual user of the system so that they are exclusive, usable to that one account. So in other words, that SD card you have is, MC is just you and no one else can use it. But yes, you're going to be able to buy legally games through their kind of store they're going to have. They won't say, they really haven't set a target price for the system. If this thing isn't under $300, this thing's not going anywhere. We can all be honest about that. I mean, that's just the way it's going to be. They are going to have other demos and stuff. I know they just did one in SoCal. I'll have a link down to GameStream1's video. He shows it working because it was at the SoCal just last weekend. So this system was shown to people. People have seen it working. So the system does work. The one other thing that I saw here was about, if I can find it, because somewhere in the comments someone asked this question. About translations and patches to modify the game. This was a question someone asked because the Retron 5s allow you to do it and stuff like that. And they said they'll be making announcements with this regard in the near future. So maybe you'll get to do translation and patches. I hope you do. Again, it'd be great if you did do that. But again, that's all the information they have for the system right now. And I know people are skeptical and should be always skeptical of anything that comes out that you have any questions of. There's no reason for people not to be skeptical of this. Right now, it's been shown. But until we actually know, again, these are a lot of great details, but the Kickstarter hasn't happened yet. And the question to you really is, do you need this console to play your games or not? Do you want to buy a console that's going to be modular? Now, there's nothing wrong with this console to be able to buy the module and install what you want to play. But the question is, do you want to actually Like, do you want this over your console or not, or anything else? If you have Retron 5 or anything else, questions I don't know right now. You just have to wait. Unfortunately, that's my furnace run, guys. Anyway, I'll cut the video short or where it is. I'm sure it's really long right now. But what do you guys think of all this new information Retroblox? Are you ready? Do you want to buy this? Are you interested in it when it comes on Kickstarter? You're still skeptical. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching like always. I'll put up another video soon. Laters.